The fire that nearly destroyed Chicago in 1871. The fire that devastated Chicago and changed the future of cities. Imagine one of the most prosperous and growing cities in the United States being consumed by flames in a matter of hours. Chicago, 1871. A city made of wood with hot, dry winds blowing, and an event so devastating that it marked history forever. Today, on Just for Curiosity, you will learn all the details behind the Great Chicago Fire. The Chicago context in 1871. Before the disaster, Chicago was a booming city. With a population of over 300,000, the city was becoming an industrial and commercial hub in the heart of the United States. But this rapid expansion brought with it some serious problems. Focus on excessive use of wood. Most of the buildings were made of cheap wood, from houses and buildings to sidewalks. This would become one of the most critical factors in the disaster that was to come. Weather conditions. In 1871, the city experienced an extremely hot and dry summer, creating the perfect conditions for a devastating fire to spread quickly. High winds. Chicago, being a city with frequent winds, had all the ingredients for a potential disaster. But no one imagined what was about to happen on the night of October 8th. How did the fire start? It all started in a small barn belonging to the O'Leary family, on a seemingly peaceful night. A popular legend claims that the fire started when Mrs. O'Leary's cow knocked over a lantern, setting the surrounding hay on fire. Unraveling the cow legend. This story became so famous that for many years the O'Leary family was blamed. However, historians now believe that the cause may have been something else, such as a careless act by people playing cards near the barn. Explanation of possible alternative causes. Although it has never been proven, several theories suggest that the fire may have been caused by humans, or even by spontaneous combustion of the hay, given the dry conditions at the time. The fire spreads. The fire, fueled by strong winds and wooden buildings, began to spread at an alarming rate. Within hours it was out of control, crossing the Chicago River. Would you believe that the fire was so intense that it even crossed the Chicago River? The river was so polluted with flammable materials such as oil, that the flames literally jumped to the other side. Destruction of the heart of Chicago. Chicago's commercial center, with its warehouses, offices and factories, was completely consumed by fire. Within hours, all that was left was a city in flames. Chaos in the streets. Residents fled desperately with their belongings, but many were caught off guard by the speed of the flames. The end of the fire and the damage. After 2 days of pure chaos, the fire finally found its end, but not because of the firefighters. The providential rain. On October 10th, a providential rain helped control what was left of the flames, extinguishing the fire that seemed unstoppable. The extent of the destruction. When the fire was finally extinguished, more than 17,500 buildings had been destroyed, 100,000 people were homeless, and between 300 and 500 lives had been lost. Aftermath and reconstruction of Chicago. The Great Chicago Fire was devastating, but it also marked a new beginning for the city, the beginning of reconstruction. With the help of donations from around the world, Chicago began rebuilding quickly. But this time, architects and engineers learned from past mistakes. Safer architecture. Most new buildings were made of more fire-resistant materials such as brick and stone, beginning the transition to the modern high-rise style for which Chicago is famous today. Impact on urban planning. In addition to changes in architecture, Chicago implemented new laws and regulations that required better fire suppression systems and urban planning. The 1871 fire nearly destroyed Chicago, but the city emerged from the ashes bigger and stronger. The disaster not only changed the city's history, but also had a lasting impact on how we plan and build cities around the world. Curious to learn more about the events that shaped American history? Sign up for Just for Curiosity and discover more fascinating and little-known stories.